Old friends, new friends, everybody else, what is going on, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to episode 1054, Talking Buffalo, your weekday daily driver for Buffalo Sports Talk and more. My name is Patrick Moran. Thank you very, very much. Whether you listen to the show, whether you're watching on YouTube, however you consume Talking Buffalo, can't tell you how much I appreciate all you guys. Also, much love to today's sponsor, Sunny Reds, 1841 Abbott Road, just down the way from Highmark Stadium. Make sure you go check out Sunny Reds. All right, this is our Friday episode, which means, as usual, not always, but usually another edition of the Podbag. I absolutely love these because I feel they're interactive. You control the narrative. It's your questions, your comments, your takes. I plucked some of the best from our YouTube channel, from Twitter, from our Facebook page. I'm going to read them off and respond to them today. As usual, a very heavy Buffalo Bills-centric episode. You got a couple food things, too, a few other small things at the end. Kind of fun. Like I said, I really love doing these because I feel like you get to be involved with what we talk about, the content on this show. Nothing in the mailbag, but before we get going, and I'm going to dive right into that in just a second, want to wish the best of luck. If you happen to be watching this on the video side, I got my Buffalo Bandits zip up on, showing much love to Buffalo's far and away most successful professional sports franchise. But the Bandits start Friday night here, a quest to win their third consecutive NIL championship. Not going to be easy. A best of three series against the Saskatchewan Rush. Game one here Friday night in Buffalo. Game two will be Sunday at Saskatchewan. And if necessary, game three will be back in Buffalo. The decider next Saturday, 4:30 p.m. I feel I'm excited for true Bandits fans. Obviously, a little bit jealous. I wish I could sit here. I've said this before. I wish I could sit here and tell you that I really follow and get into this team. I don't. I should. I need to. But I haven't. So I don't get to experience the same level of enthusiasm and joy that people who follow the Buffalo Bandits through thick and thin, what they're getting to experience right now. And in terms of winning a championship, obviously, if you grow up a Bills fan, a Sabres fan, you don't even know what that's like. So for the Bandits, they have an opportunity to win 3 in a row. It's just incredible. So best of luck to them. No Sabres stuff on at least the pod bag today. Nothing going on. So nothing really to talk about other than, of course, the word Lexus being added to the lore of Sabres key buzzwords over the past decade and a half. Sweet Lou, no interest, apparently 82-year-old Sweet Lou, no interest in the Sabres overtures, reportedly. Still waiting to find out who, if anybody, will be babysitting Kevyn Adams as Sabres GM or advisory to GM Kevyn Adams for next season. We'll see if anything comes about in the days or weeks ahead. But as of right now, other than Eric Stahl, not really much to talk about. Plenty to talk about, of course, as always, with the Buffalo Bills and the NFL. That never stops. That is a 52 per week year cycle. So let's just dive into the pod bag. Got some pretty good ones here for you today. We'll start with at Solar Eric EP, who says, what are your schedule thoughts after having a few to digest it? Personally, I wanted a holiday game, but other than that, I think it's a good schedule for the Bills. What do you like and not like about the schedule the most? Thanks for that. Had a show last night with Joe from Queens, and honestly, nothing has really changed. Even having a night to sleep on it, I still feel pretty much the same way that I felt yesterday. What I like about it is the balance. It feels like a very balanced schedule. 4 tough home games. Now we knew that the Bills, we knew who they were playing and we knew where they were playing, other than unless it being potentially an international game. But we already knew that the Bills are going to be playing Baltimore and Kansas City and Cincy and Philadelphia at home. We already knew that. What we didn't know was when. And what I like about this schedule for the Bills, those 4 tough home games, is that they're kind of spread out. Like Baltimore, right away, week 1, what a hell of a litmus test that's going to be. I think Kansas City's like week 9. Cincy's like week 14. Philly's second last game, week 17. So I like the fact that those games kind of spread out. Look, I don't care how good you are as a football team. If you have a very tough schedule early on and a couple breaks don't go your way, an injury or two, you could find yourself, 1-3, something like that. And it's always, again, I don't care how good you are, it's always hard to climb out of a bad start. So I like that with the Bills. Not to say that they can't get off to a bad start because they're not playing those 4 teams closer together. I'm just saying, to me, those were clearly on paper the 4 best teams that they're going to play this year, all at home and evenly spread out. So I like that. I don't think there's anything ridiculous on the schedule at all, like nothing I'm, yelling at the clouds over. I think there's a really good chance that the Bills get off to a fast start. In fact, and look, it's May. So to talk about any predictions, let alone, forecasting an entire season in the first handful of days in May is just stupid. Or actually, we're in the middle of May, but still, it's still May, folks. If they beat Baltimore in week 1, having said all that, I do think it's feasible that the Buffalo Bills could be undefeated when Kansas City comes to town in week 9. So there's that. I believe Kansas City was undefeated when they came to Buffalo last year, right? And the Bills handed them their first loss. Their only real loss of the season. I know they lost their finale when it didn't mean nothing. So yeah, the Kansas City was undefeated last year when they came to Buffalo. Maybe this year Kansas City comes to Buffalo and it's the Buffalo Bills who will be undefeated. I do think that's feasible. So I like the balance of the schedule. They go through a stretch, 4 out of 5 at home earlier in the season. They have another stretch, 4 out of 5 on the road, like middle to sort of late part of the season. So again, a really good balance. What I don't like, and it's not that I hate it, so I'm not going to say hate, but I dislike the weather being potentially crazy late in the season. And whether you're the Buffalo Bills, whether you're Patrick Mahomes, whether you're Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, no matter who it is, weather can always have the potential to be the thing that evens everything out, that balances the level, levels out the playing field. Crazy weather could do that. And there's a good chance that the Bills are going to have some crazy weather late in the season that could impact these games, like I said, because the back end of that schedule, a lot of potential late season, cold, very wintry games, starting with week 13 through the very end. They're at Pittsburgh. You got Cincinnati at home. You're at Foxborough. You're at Cleveland. You got Philly at home. And you got the Jets at home. That's your last 6 games. Those games quite literally could all be cold. Again, very, very wintry. I would have liked to have, in a perfect world, seen that broken up a little bit. There were road games, Atlanta, which would be in a dome, of course, Houston, Carolina. Those were potential like warm weather, later season road games, but they're all going to be out of the way by week 12. So it's going to be potentially very cold. And as much as I love you fans, and I know you show out to the stadium no matter what the weather is, I ain't talking about you guys. If you want to go to the stadium and be cold, go ahead. I'm talking about the team itself. Bad weather can affect a passing game. It can affect football games, like I said. So I'm not in love with having potentially 6 consecutive wintry games to end the season. I don't love the week 7 bye, but it's also not the end of the world. And one thing I think I like about Houston in week 12 is that, so with the Bills having a full bye in week 7, and they go to Houston in week 12 on Thursday Night Football, of course, short rest. I don't love that whatsoever. However, Houston also, same deal. They'll be playing Sunday before, so they don't have any rest advantage. But what I like about that game is, while I hate it being on short rest, they'll be on a mini bye after that. Like the Bills will play in Houston, and then they'll have a 10-day mini bye before they go to Pittsburgh. So you got week 7, a full bye, and week 12 will become kind of like a a mini bye. All in all, though, to be honest with you, I really don't have any strong takes on the schedule. It's fine. It's fine. I do like no international games. I wouldn't have hated Thanksgiving or Christmas night games, although I did kind of openly campaign against playing on a holiday over the last couple weeks on this show. But when push came to shove, if it would have been a night game, I don't think I would have hated on it. But like I said, all in all, fine. At Mazvid says, this looks like the softest schedule the Bills have had in a really, really long time. The last 5 years, when those schedules dropped, I could see 7 to 9 games that were realistically toss-up potential losses. And this season, I see 4, maybe 5. The Bills should at least split those tough games, right? So what are we looking at here? 13-4 at worst? That makes me worried. It looks too easy. Something bad is bound to happen. This team always finds a way to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. All right, Mazvids, man, one of the most loyal and frequent watchers of the show and commenters, says what he wants to say. I'll give him that much. Don't always agree, and this is kind of sort of one of them. Although, overall, I think a pretty good take. But I think finding ways to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory feels like an overkill to me. I mean, that's like 17-year Buffalo Bills drought mentality. The Bills have won 83 games over the last 5 years, I think it is, or whatever. Yeah. I don't remember what it was, but during the streak, I know that 83 games is second only to Kansas City, who's won 84. So second by 1. And they've also won at least one playoff game each year, every year since 2019. So I ain't really with that in terms of snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. Now, have they choked before? Yeah, of course they've choked before. I mean, 13 seconds will never, ever, ever be forgotten by any Buffalo Bills fan. They also could have beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs the last 2 years. Ended up losing both of them by field goal. But got to be careful there because, yeah, the Bills left some plays on the field. They made some mistakes. Some key players didn't play well. But I still, at the end of the day, over the last 2 years at least, I tend to give the Kansas City Chiefs credit as much as, if not more than saying that the Bills like gagged those games away. But when it comes to the schedule, yeah, I completely agree with you there. This does, right now, at least in May, feel like a real cupcake schedule right now. In May, I got to emphasize that because year after year after year, there are teams that you look at in April and May, and you're like, easy dubs, easy games, cupcake games, and that don't end up being the case. Like last year, the Bills did not play Washington, but if they did, and we were doing this in May, we'd be like, oh, rookie quarterback Jane Daniels, Washington, new coach Dan Quinn, no issues. They ended up being in the NFC Championship game. A couple years ago, it was Houston. They were 2-14 the season before. Rookie quarterback. They won the AFC South. So every year, there are teams who kind of come out of nowhere where they don't have expectations, and you look at the schedule and you're like, oh my God, this looks like it's going to be such an easy game, and it's not. It ends up being a team that's far better when the season actually starts, or vice versa. Like I remember last year, I was like, oh man, we got to go to Seattle. Oh, that scares the shit out of me. Seattle, the 12th man, that team is really, really stacked. Well, they weren't, and the Bills went up there and handled business pretty easy. I'm just saying that there's probably a couple games on the schedule. Like I'll think of the New England Patriots, for an example. I think New England's going to be much, much better this year, and they play them twice. I don't think those are cupcake games like they've been, basically since Tom Brady left the Patriots. So strap it in because those could be highly competitive games. But you get what I'm saying right now. I'll say this. The home schedule is far more daunting, but, I'm not betting on them. Put it this way. I'm not betting on the Bills going undefeated at Highmark Stadium this season like they did last year. All right. Just not between Baltimore and Kansas City, Cincy, and Philly. But to your point, dude, yeah. If they split those games and they lose, say, two games that they're going to be favored in, which, by the way, I can't give credit, and I apologize to whoever, but I saw on Twitter the Bills were the only team right now. They went through the Vegas lines for the year. The Buffalo Bills are the only team in the NFL right now that are going to be favored as of right now in all 17 games this season. But anyway, as I was saying, if they split those four tough home games and they drop two that they're favored in, there's no logical reason other than injury for that to happen. That, the Bills don't finish with at least 12, if not 13 wins. I think you'll see nearly everyone locally, nationally, when it gets closer to season, if everybody stays healthy and nothing happens over the summer, I think you'll see pretty much all the national pundits picking the Bills to go 12-5, maybe even 13-4. I think that'll be actually pretty common. All right, let's take a real quick break. Come back. Plenty more to get to on this Podbag. Happy Friday as this Podbag continues, folks. At This Is Tooch, one of my favorites on the Sunday night live chat. He is always there for Joe from Queens, and I appreciate him. He says, I love that the Bills aren't going overseas. They have such a favorable travel schedule. I'm glad it didn't get tainted. Other hand, if there were a year for it, it is this year. The farthest west they will travel to will be Arrowhead in January. Go Bills. All right, nice little preview there from you, forecasting that the Bills are going to be going to Arrowhead in January. Are you saying that the Chiefs are going to be the number one seed again? Anyway, I'm happy they're not going overseas either. I kind of changed my mind, like I said, about the holidays, though. Didn't originally want it, but I do think the Bills deserved it for what it's worth. The Bills are a great draw. They have an MVP quarterback who's become one of the two or three faces of this entire league. And they got a really good football team that has been, perennially good now for years. And I'm sure the NFL wants to put good teams in front of the biggest audiences. So I am, to be completely honest with you, I'm kind of shocked that the league didn't put Buffalo either in Christmas or Thanksgiving, one or the other. So yeah, I am surprised. It feels to me like the Bills had the ingredients between being good, between being a good draw, between having the MVP, the face of the league. I'm definitely surprised about it. But travel. This is an easy travel year for the Bills. Easy travel year for Bills fans who like to show up and show out for them on the road and have these takeover games. That's for sure. There's going to be plenty of opportunities, especially late in the season. Like I look at that Cleveland game. Cleveland should be down and out at that point. I could totally see the Bills taking that stadium over. They're going to travel really well when they go to Charlotte, where there's already a bunch of, displaced Buffalonians in that area. Totally could take over Carolina. Pittsburgh, I'm not going to say Pittsburgh, because even if Pittsburgh does end up having a down year, that fan base is awesome, man. And they're not going to let the Bills come and take it over. Although the terrible towel thing a couple of years ago, when the Bills went to Pittsburgh and won, that was pretty cool. But anyway, I'm just saying that travel-wise, to your point, this is an easy year, and I just think there's a lot of opportunities for Bills fans who maybe they can't afford. It's expensive to go to Vegas and expensive to go out to Los Angeles and some of these other cities. But with the exception of Houston, these are like quick, direct flights and or relatively easy drives. Adam says, not counting anything Bills, what do you think was the dumbest thing about the NFL schedule release? I said this on the show yesterday. I'll say it again. I thought Miami getting 5 games in prime time and a game in Spain, it's just way too much. I think the league is in danger when it comes to Miami this year of showcasing a shitty football team, because I don't think Miami's very good at all. I mean, they still got some, top end talent for sure, but their quarterback is iffy to stay healthy, iffy to play well, especially in certain circumstances. They're far from great on the trenches, even though they try to address that in the draft, but they had a lot of work to do in the trenches. I think their secondary flat out sucks. And I think their head coach is an artsy, fartsy, overthinking clown who's not head coach material. He's a coordinator, man. He ain't a head coach. He's not a leader of men. And I think they know that too. And I think deep down, some of them will admit it, but I think their fan base knows that too. I don't think they're a team you take very serious. It wouldn't surprise me if Miami finished dead last this year in AFC East. Dead last. But they're in primetime 5 times. So that's weird to me. The other thing, I know criticizing Kansas City, the team that the Bills can't beat in the playoffs, it makes me sound like a big hater, but having them in primetime 5 times in the first 8 weeks of the season, which is the first time, by the way, in NFL history that's ever happened, not to mention the opener in Brazil, the Thanksgiving game, the Christmas game. It's a little much, man. It's a little much, all right? I know Kansas City's a great draw. I know they're a great bet to remain good, but that's just a lot of stock in one team. 5 primetime games over 8 weeks, Christmas, Thanksgiving, all on one team. Again, what happens if, God forbid, and I want to be really clear, I certainly hope this doesn't happen, but what happens if something bad happens and Patrick Mahomes suffers a significant injury, if he goes down? I don't think any team deserves that much shine from the league. I said it yesterday. Joe from Queens disagree with me, but I'll say it again. It's like Detroit, Dallas, Kansas City. They're playing both Thanksgiving and Christmas. Maybe they could have spread that love a little bit. And it didn't even have to be Buffalo either. It could have been, like I said, the Rams, Chargers, the Broncos. There's other good teams. So didn't love that. At David Malley, 5464. Hot take. Cole Bishop leads the league in forced turnovers, interceptions, plus forced fumbles, and he makes either the Pro Bowl or All-Pro. Wow. Wow, Dave. That might be the hottest take I see all year. It's certainly the most sizzly take when it comes to the Buffalo Bills I've seen so far anyway in 2025. Cole Bishop makes either Pro Bowl or All-Pro. And not to burst your bubble or anyone's bubble, I don't think Cole Bishop's even a shoo-in to be a starter right now. I think Cole Bishop goes to camp, and I think he could very easily be pushed by Derek Force, who they signed from Washington, a guy who I like a lot. You got him. We already know, trust me, we already know how much Sean McDermott loves him some Damar Hamlin. So I'm not even 100% sold that Cole Bishop is going to start. I think he's going to, but I would far from call it a shoo-in. Look, hot takes are fun, okay? Trust me, no one likes to throw out hot takes more than I do, whether they're semi-realistic, whether they're absurd, unrealistic. I feel like I throw them all out there, but that's too hot, man. That's too hot for me, okay? I would say the realistic ceiling for Cole Bishop this year is to start and to become a pretty steady, solid, reliable starter who can make some plays. I would absolutely take that in an instance. And I want to be clear, that's realistic to me. I could see that happening. I'm not done with Cole Bishop. I'm not even down on Cole Bishop. I do think athletically, profile-wise, talent-wise, Cole Bishop is probably the best safety on this football team right now. But I'm not going to sit there and discount who the head coach is, who has plenty of say in who's starting. I don't care if Bobby Babbitt is defensive coordinator or not. If you don't think Sean McDermott's got an awful lot of pull on who he wants out there as his safeties, I'd love to sell you an island. And as long as he can walk, maybe even if he can't walk, but he can still play. They got to wheel Taylor Rapp out there. I feel like Sean McDermott wants Taylor Rapp out there. And when it comes to the other spot, I kind of see what we saw last year or what we were supposed to see last year. Last year was supposed to be Cole Bishop versus Mike Edwards versus Damar Hamlin. 2/3 of those guys got hurt and took themselves out of that race really, really quick. If you remember the first couple of days, they were alternating who was getting first team reps. But by the first week, Edwards down, Bishop down, job Hamlin's. So I think this year you're going to get a legitimate competition to start alongside Taylor Rapp. So I'd say there's a better chance that Cole Bishop doesn't even end up starting than there is him becoming a Pro Bowl safety this season. Tell you though, man, I love the juice. I love the juice. I love the fire. I love an hot take like that, even if I do think it's borderline insane. At Alex Manjo 5081 says, Christian Benford is a premier corner in this league. He was actually a number 2 DVOA within the entire league, just under Patrick Surtain. Most people don't know that. We got him so cheap. As for where he was drafted, not really a miss. He just went to Villanova. Beane likely knew the lack of NFL recruiting that goes on there. Look, every year there's players who are late round picks, if they're sometimes not drafted at all, that go on to be best players and, great players. And there's 31 other teams that are kicking the shit out of themselves over it. Christian Benford's that guy for the Buffalo Bills. I really don't have much to add to what you said. I love Christian Benford, and I agree. I think he is one of the best, without question, one of the best young corners in the NFL. I said it on the show yesterday. I'll repeat it again. My only concern about Christian Benford is his ability to finish the season. Both times in the last 2 years, the Bills have lost in the playoffs to Kansas City. Christian Benford didn't play. He got hurt early in the first quarter in the AFC Championship game this year. The year before that, he got hurt in the wild card game against Pittsburgh and didn't play in a divisional round loss when Kansas City came to Orchard Park and won. You want to go back a year before that, 2022, he didn't play either, but he wasn't really started, and he was already on IR. He was on IR in like November, so it's not like he got hurt right before that game. But I need to see Christian Benford finish the season as a starter. It's my only concern. Quick spoiler alert, too, by the way. I just did a bit on Christian Benford, a segment for an upcoming Locked On Bills project. Joe Marino does this every year. He has a panel. I was fortunate enough to be asked to be on that panel where we collectively discuss 10 players on the Buffalo Bills that are most critical to the future of the organization. And my assignment in that part of the program was Christian Benford. So I had plenty to say on him. Make sure you tune in. Sometime it's airing next week, Locked On Bills. Anyway, all right, let's continue here. At Mr. Manson Pro 16. I don't know how anyone could say that special teams is overrated. The Bills literally lost a Super Bowl and the Music City Miracle because of special teams. If anyone should know better, it's Bills fans. Dude, you ain't lying, buddy. You are not lying. I've been dying on this hill for a while now. I love that take. That is one of the more underrated yet accurate takes you're ever going to hear about the Buffalo Bills. Go back and listen to that one sentence, what Mr. Manson Pro 16 or whatever his real name is, he said. The Bills literally lost a Super Bowl and the Music City Miracle because of special teams. Completely true. Is it the only reason? No. But at the end of the day, it came down to when special teams played. The Bills, Scott Norwood misses a field goal. If he makes it, the Bills win Super Bowl 25. If the Bills don't F up special teams coverage, there is no Music City Miracle. The Bills beat Tennessee. Tennessee goes to the Super Bowl that year. Who knows what happens with the Buffalo Bills? But that opportunity was lost literally because of special teams. You're 150% right. Every time I bring up a prospective free agent or previously a trade candidate who maybe wouldn't start on this team, and I said, nah, it's not a good fit, and one of the reasons why is because they don't play special teams. They got no special teams value. I got dragged, man. I did. I got dragged on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, you name it. If that was my stance, I got dragged, worrying too much about special teams. I heard it a lot, trust me. I got dragged for saying no thanks to Gabe Davis for several reasons, and that was one of them. Gabe Davis no special teams value right now. I feel the same way about Trey White. Like if Trey White ain't starting, to me, he's borderline useless unless you have a roster spot that you can use for somebody like Trey White to be inactive on game day. And if something happens to Max Harrison, he's not ready or he gets banged up, then you plug in Trey. But in terms of him playing on Sundays, no value. He will not dress. If Trey White is not CB2 alongside Benford, Trey White is going to be in a jumpsuit on the sidelines because he's got zero special teams value. The Bills lost Matt Collins and Quentin Morris on special teams this year. That may hurt them a little bit at some point, whether you think so or not. Laugh all you want right now. I'm telling you, it matters. At JesusDo1, WL says, we have to be honest and objective in evaluating. Brandon Beane has done a good job, or he's done good things for the Bills, but also has made some bad decisions too. Once he gets the Bills a Super Bowl win, I'll put him up there with the GMs of the Eagles, Chiefs, Rams, and Bucks that got 13 Super Bowl wins. Until then, Beane is a good GM, but not one of the best GMs like those other GMs that got their teams a Super Bowl trophy. All right. Yeah. Look, man, what can I say? I fully agree with you. I do. You got to get to the Super Bowl. It's what it's all about. If you want to be considered one of the best GMs, one of the best executives, one of the best head coaches in football, you got to get your team to a Super Bowl, especially when you have a quarterback who is as good as any player in the National Football League. Straight up. Brandon Beane knows this. Maybe that's why he's getting a little bit increasingly testy when it comes to media stuff or firing back when people say things that he doesn't like. That maybe he would have just let that shit slide not all that long ago. I'll give Brandon Beane this. If he doesn't get to the Super Bowl this year, it ain't going to be for lack of trying. Like the Bills have really, really revamped that defense. Obviously, the defensive line going with a different type of cornerback pick in the first round of the draft. And I'm pretty high on Josh Palmer. I think he's going to be a good fit with the Bills. I really do. So it won't be for lack of trying. A couple more here. At Jazz Unlimited 1 says, regular on the show, big fan of his too. I'll pass on Gabe Davis. We tried for too long to justify him as a wide receiver 2 when he wasn't. He made a career off of 2 games, the Steelers game, the Chiefs playoff game, of course. I don't hate him like a lot of fans seem to, but I don't think his skill set adds anything to the wide receiver room that isn't already there. I do wish him the best. I'm with you, buddy, 100% there. I'll say this. I hate that fans are hating on him right now. And not everybody is, but I've seen enough, more than I should. Gabe Davis was a pretty good player, and that Chiefs game just gave expectations that I'm not sure many receivers were going to be able to live up to. He's a flawed player. He does certain things well. He has big games. He has big moments. He can get downfield. He can stretch the field. He's a hell of a blocker, but he's got very inconsistent hands. He's not a good separator, not the best route runner. Lapses of focus and concentration at times. We know the book on Gabe Davis at this point. We lived it for several years. I agree with you, man. What does he add to this wide receiver room that isn't already there? I might feel different, and I've said this. Like maybe if Keon Coleman wasn't here, or if Keon Coleman got hurt and he was going to be out for the year and you got to go get somebody like him, then go give me Gabe Davis, who, by the way, is not old. Gabe Davis has just turned 26 years old, so it's not even like Gabe is old. But, yeah, nice. And I just said this a few minutes ago. If Gabe Davis could play special teams well, and he hasn't played any special teams since 2021, but if he was like good on special teams, I'd be far more open to it. I really would. But you cannot have wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5, wide receiver 6, if you keep 6, having no special teams value, straight up. I mean, go through the roster. Coleman ain't playing special teams. Shakir ain't playing special teams unless he has to return some punts at some point. But aside from that, he ain't playing special teams. They didn't sign Josh Palmer and give him the money they did for him to play special teams. Elijah Moore is not playing special teams. He never has before. Curtis Samuel don't play special teams. That's 5 receivers right there. That 6th guy, if you're going to even keep 6, he better be good on special teams. He better shine on special teams. So that's just why I never thought that there was any kind of real path to Gabe Davis making or being signed and being on this roster. And why would he want to be, by the way? He's visited, as this recording, San Francisco, the Giants. I'm sure there's other teams out there that are interested as well. So I don't think he would want to be in Buffalo any more than most Bills fans don't want to see him here. At Trenson3 said, shocked Landon Jackson didn't take number 40. Don't be surprised if Vaughn is back too. All right, because Vaughn Miller was number 40. Landon Jackson didn't take 40. Try to, do some weird math there. Look, if Vaughn Miller comes back to the Bills, it's going to be in some sort of like front office role, okay? I don't know if he's done as a player or not. That remains to be seen. Where he'll sign, when he'll sign. Is he just going to stay in shape and chill out and wait for, a team to suffer an injury at training camp or maybe early in the season where they're down an edge and they really need a guy and that's where he goes? That could happen. But if he came back to Buffalo, it would only be for that reason. Like he'd be sitting on a couch and there were a rash of Bills injuries at edge. Otherwise, no way, man. No way. Von Miller's time as a player for sure with the Buffalo Bills, I think, is come and gone. Last few here. John Sanders says, big fan of the show. I feel like I'm not being pandered to. Tell you what, John, I really, truly appreciate that as I'm starting to pander to the audience right now. And especially considering that Joe from Queens quite literally calls me pandering Pat all the time. But generally speaking, yeah, man, whether it's me, whether it's whoever's on as a guest, we try really, really, really hard to be objective in our thoughts and our analysis, our takes, and certainly don't kiss the ring of the players, any players. I don't care who it is, even Josh Allen. Don't kiss the ring of the players or the teams. That's not why we have this podcast. And I really appreciate that very much, man. At BF Walsh 2024 says, happy birthday, Pat. Belated. My birthday was last week, but he says, happy birthday, Pat. Hope you had a great day and have a blessed year, and congrats and Godspeed to your daughter. I had a great birthday week last week. I'm not going to get into all the details. Of course, I thank you. And look, yes, man. The highlight was definitely, you brought it up. My daughter Madison, graduated from college, from Duville College. And I'll tell you what, that'll go down as one of my most cherished memories for sure. I went to Duville College 33 years before her. I did not graduate. I did not come close to graduating. I played basketball for 1 year. I got drunk. I smoked a lot of weed. I slept in. I stayed in the dorms, even though I grew up on the west side, quite literally 7 minutes from campus. I was a shitty student, an unmotivated student who eventually dropped out to join a friend who was building a floor hockey arena and be part of that. And also I got into bartending. Well, first bar backing and then bartending. So shitty student. Not that I come from a family of dummies. There's plenty of intelligent people in my family, but not really college graduates. So first one in my family, I'm going to cherish that forever. And to be there, first of all, to be alive. And don't take this for granted. But I know I'm kind of railing now, but you know what? It's the end of the show. If you've listened to this point, that means you like talking Buffalo and you don't mind what I have to say right now. If you don't, you've probably turned this off quite a while ago. Don't take opportunities for granted. I mean that so much. I truly do. Talked about a couple months ago. You guys know this if you know me. I had a health scare, a cancer scare a couple months ago. Praise God, everything for now turned out perfectly fine. But my point is I kind of learned from that a little bit. And I just don't take those moments for granted. Like I couldn't wait. That was such an incredible memory to be there in person. Again, not taking that for granted. For her ceremony, her pinning ceremony, she graduated from science of nursing. And when you become a nurse, you get a pin. There's a pinning ceremony. And to watch her get pinned by her best friend, who's also a nurse, and to use her platform, because when they call your name, they bring you up there, you get pinned, and on the big screen is a picture of you, your name, couple sentences, write whatever you want, shout out your family, your friends, people help you, support you, this and that, professors. The last sentence to shout me out on my birthday, which she said, "Oh, happy birthday, Dad." She says, "We did it. We did it." That's some special shit, man. It really meant a lot to me. So thank you for that, BFF. Really cool. At Ryan Tojan says, I started watching this podcast and liked it. Watch it again and liked it more. Kept watching and grew to absolutely love it. It's one of my staples now, and Joe from Queens is the greatest. Go Bills. Feels like a Joe from Queens burner account to me, man. Joe is certainly interesting. Definitely a different style than most Bills content creators out there. I know that rubs some people the wrong way, for sure. They get very turned off by it. But I also think there's a large and growing portion of people who check out this show who have really come to appreciate Joe, like I said, not bending the knee to anybody, not playing the game, just being honest and whatever the hell he's thinking, even if what I think he thinks is stupid. But yeah, strength is honesty, man. It's much more than X's and O's analysis. But anyway, dude, appreciate you, man. I noticed you've been on the live streams more and more. I love that crew that we're building on our Sunday night video side, Sunday night live shows at 9 p.m. We do them every Sunday night, and it's starting to become more and more people regulars. It's kind of like a bar where you can count on the same people showing up at the bar. It's really cool stuff. So between Sunday nights at 9 p.m., some other occasional live things, really good stuff. At Small Diet, Dr. Kelp said, I just had 9/11 Tavern for the first time. It was absolute average. Kelly's Corner, Gabe's Gate, and even Franco's clearly better. It was not great. I don't get the hype now. Look, food is so subjective, okay? I respect everybody's take. It's an opinion. There's no right or wrong. It's kind of like quarterbacks. Who's the best quarterback? Is it Josh? Is it Lamar? Is it Mahomes? You can make cases for these guys. It's subjective. There's no right or wrong. It's opinion. I respect everybody's take, especially when it comes to food. I think food is the most subjective thing there is. No places for everyone. I personally think 9/11 is the best wings on the face of this earth. And absolutely, to me, the most consistent. But if you think that they're absolutely average, I can respect that. You brought up Kelly's Corner, by the way. I love Kelly's Corner, to your point. Not so much Gabe's Gate, but again, that's just me, man. All subjective. However, I got to be honest with you, okay? I'm saying the politically right thing, which it is. I'm saying the right thing, but I got to draw a line somewhere. Nothing against Franco's, but you can't be comparing favorably, nonetheless, pizza wing places to places like 9/11. Like, I can't take that serious. If anybody, I don't care who you are, whether it's this person leaving this tweet, whether it's you watching this at home, if you want to say 9/11 is okay, or Barbell's overrated, or Sunny Reds is overrated, or Lenovo's, whatever, that's fine. But when you start telling me that pizzeria chicken wings are better than Barbell or 9/11 or Sunny Reds, I'm going to think you're crazy. And I can't take that serious, man. I just can't. Like, what are we doing here, Dr. Kelp? Come on. Last one here. At Chuck Amadore 9086. Try the new Tortuga sandwich shop in Kenmore. Unique, awesome food. All right. Last week I did a food review of the Hoagie Stop in Kaisertown. Ending this today with this tweet. I kind of want to shine a light on some other places, maybe some that other people don't know, kind of saving it for the end of the show. But yeah, all right, I'll give this place. I've never been there. Tortuga Sandwich Shop in Kenmore. Sounds interesting. If you say they're good, I'll take your word for it. Shout out to Tortuga Sandwich Shop. By the way, Delaware Avenue in Kenmore. If you live in that area, or even if you don't, you want to go take a ride out there, I'm probably not going to get a chance, but if you do, give it a try. Let me know what you think. All right? That is going to do it. By the time I get done with this recorded on Thursday for Friday, I feel almost drained because it's 5 days in a row of doing this, plus combined with a real job and other things in my life. But I say that come tomorrow, I start to be like, oh, I got nothing to do tomorrow. Then by Sunday night, I am excited to kickstart the week again. So that's how I know I still enjoy doing this very much. And if you're watching this late into the show, I promise you, are a very, very, very big reason why. So thank you very much for watching, for listening. Again, shout out Sunny Reds. Make sure you go check them out. Have a nice, safe, enjoyable weekend. Go Bandits. I will be back live video side on YouTube, 9 p.m. Joe from Queens. Talk to you guys then.